Tansei, welcome to Metis Minute, your source for Metis news in Region 7. Today, we are here to bring you an important update of something that was brought up during an Innisfil City Council meeting. As we know, Indigenous people are stewards of the land. And that doesn't just mean the lands that we walk on, that also means water protections. There are many protections put in place to protect this land by the Ministry of Environment and Conservation. There are also bylaws put in place by municipalities to help protect the land from over-extraction from local businesses. At a recent Innisfil City Council meeting, Corbel Springwater Inc. had requested a letter from the municipality to give to the Ministry of Environment and Conservation concerning their water extraction on 10 Side Road. As we mentioned, there are these bylaws in place in the municipality that prevent a certain amount of water extraction for commercial businesses. Corbel Springwater Inc. was able to present their case in front of Innisfil City Council about how their company is staying within the limitations of these environmental protections.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Dolan, councillors, and staff. My name is Sebastian Corbel, and I'm the president of Corbel Springwater Inc. On behalf of my sister Rose Corbel and my mother Josephina Corbel, we are here to respond to the staff report dated June 5th, 2024. I'd just like to give you some background information about our property. Originally, we had a water taking permit of about 250,000 gallons per minute. This was in the late 90s. And we do have hydrogeological reports to show that there was no impact. If I can have Ida, a family friend, hand out our portfolio of all the information of the hydrogeological reports, environmental impact studies, analyses, so everyone has a hard copy of it. Thank you, Ida. Thank you so much. As I get into my discussion, I will tell the members of the council and the mayor and staff to locate the particular information that I want you to see. Anyhow, I'm going to continue speaking. Our pump tests were performed by a gentleman called Brian Beatty, who was from Beatty Friends and Associates. He's a world-renowned hydrogeologist, an extreme expert, and his data is 100% accurate. I'd like to bring up your attention to our latest hydrogeology report that was updated February 28, 2024 by Wilson and Associates, and it was done by our current hydrogeologist by the name of Jeffrey Rather. This report was sent to staff and forwarded to council prior to our May 22nd council meeting, which fully explains all the hydrogeological reports and every issue dealing with environmental impact studies. So a lot of the questions that were asked May 22nd were pretty much answered in the reports. I trust that all of you have read this information before. If not, you have it in front of you. I'd like to speak on behalf of the report from the staff dated June 5th on certain concerns. Primarily, there was two concerns. Section 15.3 groundwater recharge and discharge areas, and section 15.6, commercial water taking. So basically, again, if do you guys have a copy of 15.3 policy? Should be in the folder. Oh. From the official plan. Objectives. There's a bunch of sections.
Go ahead, Mr. Corbo,
Okay, I'll go ahead anyway.
we'll
Anyway,
flip through.
Section 15.31 basically talks about significant groundwater recharge. So what I'd like to explain about our property, it's a self-replenishing, never-ending water source. Any output is automatically recharged. We did do pumping tests with the neighboring wells, and we did monitor their wells. There was absolutely no impact or changes in volumes on the neighboring wells. If I can have you pull out this chart, which is in the back of this folder, it basically shows, sorry, upside down, basically shows two neighboring wells that were monitored at 16 hours at 950,000 liters per day. And our neighbor, which is approximately 200 meters away, Tom Farr, across the street, shows that there is actually no impact whatsoever on the neighboring wells and other watersheds. As well, we're not asking for a permit of 950,000 liters per day. We're asking for a permit of 400,000 liters per day, which is less than half the amount that we are asking for. Absolutely, there will be no environmental impact whatsoever. If we continue to section 15.3, which says major development, just to sum it up, we're not building any structural bottling facility on our plant. It's simply an open piece of land. There's a road, a sea can in there. Trucks are going to go in and out. There is absolutely going to be no construction, present or future. If we continue to section 15.3, talks about Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority has identified the sand and gravel deposit in the vicinity as a hydrogeologically significant area. Again, the existing ground will not be altered whatsoever. We are leaving the property in pristine condition. Section 15.34 continued. Talks about areas of potential groundwater discharge, maps of South Simcoe. This is not applicable to us, but again, talking about discharge, our property, our water aquifer is totally capped. There is absolutely no leaks, no discharge coming out from the property. Continuing to 15.35, the use of best management, low impact development. Basically, this all relates to development. To sum it up all for the next 4 or 5 sections, there's not going to be any development, structural buildings on this property, present or future. If we continue let's go to 15.6, commercial water taking. On the policies. Basically, in the first policy, trying to sum it up in a nutshell, it says it is recognized that the approval of all applications have to go in accordance with the Ministry of the Environment, all the regulations, and if we don't touch more than 50,000 liters, we have to apply for a permit. Basically, the first policy, if you look at our Beatty and Friends report, in the conclusions, I believe it's page 8 of this report. I will read it to you. in his summary and conclusions, it says, the pumping test results indicate that the pumping from PW2, PW3, which are the two wells on our property, will have no significant impact in other neighboring wells in the same aquifer. And also, there is an upward, and then the last paragraph on that page, there is an upward hydraulic gradient of the two wells and provide a high level of protection from all sources of surface contamination. So we will be protecting the environment as well. Basically, in summation, I would just like to say, with regards to the neighboring wells, which the closest one is 200 meters away, we've clearly shown that there is zero impact through our pump tests, and it's all in our hydrogeological reports. There's no changes in their volumes of water, no changes in our aquifer or the neighboring watersheds. We're not asking for a permit for 950,000 liters per day, only 400,000, which is less than 50%, clearly stating that there will be no environmental impact whatsoever on the property or neighboring wells. There will be no construction on this property, present or future, and we will continue to monitor and protect this aquifer according to all Ministry of the Environment legislation and Township of Innisfil policies. In summation, basically what myself and my family and our company is asking for is a letter of the Township of Innisfil to support our future business, and I think we've proved that our company has surpassed all requirements whatsoever. Thank you for your time. I will now pass you to my sister for the remainder of the discussion. Her name is Rose Corbo, and she's the Vice President of our company. Thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Your Worship, council members and staff. My name is Rose Corbo. I'm one of the owners and directors of Corbo Spring Water Incorporation. I'm here to speak on behalf of my family, and in particular my mother, Giuseppina Corbo. I am aware that the city has purchased a property with an aquifer at 7140 Tenside Road in Innisfil that is approximately 800 meters away from our property. I am excited to see all the construction and development in Innisfil. My concern is that the town of Innisfil is building a recreation center on a property that has an existing aquifer. How will your development affect my aquifer and our property? We have a huge concern regarding this issue. In terms of our aquifer having any impacts on neighboring wells, the hydrology report shows that after 16 hours of extensive pumping, there was no impact. That is zero impact on our neighboring well located 200 meters from our property. It is included in the folder tonight on the left side of the folder. We have the right to earn a living on a property that we have paid taxes on for over 50 years. And we will continue to be part of this wonderful community for another 50 years. To all your paid employees and residents, we assure you we have the utmost respect and love for every insect, every animal, every tree, and especially our aquifer on our property. We are law-abiding citizens, and we're definitely peaceful. With this said, I asked the staff and planning department for a meeting in which we can explain in detail our extensive hydrologist report. I understand you're busy dealing with city issues and possibly have not had time to read our report. However, there is a sense of urgency, and as I respect you, our honorable mayor, the council, and the staff for your time, I ask for the same respect in return, please. Included again in your kit that was handed out this evening, please take notice that all our surrounding neighbors have given us their blessing and consent in writing. It is again on the left side of the folder. We ask that the city of Innisfil will give us your consent and blessing as well in writing. In the end, we are all ordinary people trying to work together to create a better community, especially one in Innisfil. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Corbeau. Questions or comments from members of council? Seeing none, thank you so much for the presentations. Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Constantine.
Sorry, I would just like to know why was the permit lapse, the one you had before?
So our permit was elapsed because we had some terrible situations happen in the family. It was personal, my health as well, which I've thankfully been able to conquer it. And we've also had a loss in the family. And
2 losses.
you know, my grandmother used to say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So that's why we're here today, and we're hoping to get our permit again with all your blessing.
Councillor Ices.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just curious, you mentioned that the water you're proposing to take won't be processed or bottled on site. Where would you take it to get further processed or bottled?
Well, once we get our permit, we will be selling it by the gallon, by the liter to bottling companies. And they will transport it to their facility off-site. We don't know where it's going to end up. But it won't be bottled on our property whatsoever. We're not going to build anything. We don't want to contaminate our property with a building or anything. We want it as pristine as it was 50 years ago when we purchased it.
I'm just curious whether there'd be opportunities for jobs
Absolutely.
if in Innisfil, if there was an opportunity to keep it here and bottle it or whatever it needs to do.
Well, if we'll be discussing with people, town or private investors, if they have the right zoning to build a bottling facility, jobs will be created. Those are part of our plans as well in the future. So we're definitely looking at helping out the employment.
Our number one concern is our community of Innisfil. I've loved this community since I was a child. And of course, if there's any type of work which we plan to have, it will be for sure for the residents and people of Innisfil. And hopefully we can work together on this.
Councillor Drodge.
Thank you, Your Worship. My question's around traffic. So I'm assuming you're going to have lots of trucks kind of coming in and out of there taking water. Have you done any kind of traffic study? Like, I haven't read the whole report yet, but has there been any traffic studies done?
Funny you would ask that. We were there about an hour ago, and if you look at Tenside Road, there's probably 100 cars in a minute, and there's probably about 4 tractor trailers every 3-4 seconds. 3-4 minutes. And I do have a video of it, which I took today. The road is well designed. You guys have made a brand new, beautiful road. Very, very strong. There's a lot of asphalt. I've been in the asphalt business for 40 years. I'm an expert, so it can withstand a lot of the weight and load restrictions. And you guys have taken down the signs, 5 ton per axle. So you've done a great job in construction. So traffic is moving fantastic. Trucks are going to be coming in. They're going to be in there for 5-10 minutes to load up and leaving. So there's not going to be any impact on any traffic. We've designed, there's like a little roadway to get in the property, easy in, easy out.
Like I said, I understand you have all your hydrological studies and everything in place, but what we're dealing with really is a bit of a zoning bylaw amendment that you require to do to take that water from your operation. So I don't really have questions because I do think you give a very detailed study of your business plan and what you have there. I just, I support the staff recommendation that you have to get the proper zoning and bylaw amendments in place. And I support this recommendation, but I'll leave it to you for any other questions.
Any questions or comments? Councillor Saunders.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had a discussion with Director Lee this morning about this. And I'm just going to pose a question to her again that I questioned, so everybody can hear my question is, why are we not just writing the letter to the ministry?
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to Councillor Saunders. So essentially what we've tried to summarize in the staff report is that there are official plan policies that require specific planning applications to zone the property to ensure that commercial water taking, whether it's for bottling or just the water taking itself of anything more than 50,000 liters a day, goes through a rezoning process. And so that's what those policies in section 15.6 of the official plan speak to. Many of the reports from Wilson, the previous reports from Brian Beattie, the information that's there addresses a number of those subsections of those policies and the information that would be required to be submitted as part of that planning application. But these policies in the town official plan, which is the guiding document, essentially say that 15.6.1 specifically, no permit or license for water taking shall be issued by the appropriate authority until an amendment to the official plan and zoning bylaw has been adopted by council and approved by the county. So essentially, those planning processes have to happen first before council can provide support for the ministry application for the water taking. We did speak in the report to the fact that these policies would have come into effect subsequent to their last permit to take water and would be a bit of a new process. And certainly the planning team is happy. We will look to set up a meeting with the Corbos to sort of explain what is required in addition to the information in that formal application process, should they want to proceed through that.
Thank you for raising that, Councillor Saunders. Councillor Waters.
Just as an extension to that, so there's no grandfathering opportunity here for this business.
Through you, Mayor Dolan, to Councillor Waters, essentially those policies are in effect for any requests that come in subsequent to those policies being established. And this would be a new request, as they've noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just add that the source water protection policies, which also govern this piece of property as a significant recharge area, didn't even come into effect until 2015, because that was when the plan was approved, 2015 or 2017. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the recommendation on the screen? That's unanimous. That's carried. Thank you.
We'd like to thank you for taking the time to hear about this important environmental issue about water extraction in our community. If you have any questions or concerns about commercial water extraction in Innisfil's catchment area, we encourage you to reach out to Innisfil City Council to express how this specific issue is affecting you. Merci for watching, and we'll see you down the river.